Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jay Kleinknecht here, along with, of course, head coach Scott Langer. Coach, a big weekend up in Minot. 7-0 dominating performance on Friday night. A shutout for Cybele, a hat trick for Vertes in the first two periods. Penalty kill was 100%, power play 75%. Overall, just a well-rounded performance. Specifically Friday, had to be pretty happy about that, I would think. What did you guys think?
Yeah, we, I thought, like you and I talked the next day, we got off the bus. We were obviously ready to play. They did a great job of starting on time. We got out first on them, and it was obviously one of our better games of the year from start to finish. And I just thought our guys were relentless in not giving up chances and turning pucks, making them turn pucks over for us. And obviously we were having to play against a goaltender that was undefeated at the time, and we did a good job of finding ways to score on them.
Well, and you mentioned, as you mentioned, I guess pregame, when you and I talked a little bit about that goaltender and about the fact that he had been playing very well, and one of the keys was going to be testing him and putting pressure on him, and you guys certainly did that. But on the flip side, only allowed 22 shots, and guys what's working so well to keep their chances down?
Well, guys are bought into playing 200-foot hockey, as opposed to being one way and just caring about the offensive side of things. And it's about getting pucks back when you don't have it. If you like to score goals and you like to win hockey games, you need to have the puck. So our guys pride themselves on getting pucks back and trying to limit the opportunities the opposition has on us, because I think that's a recipe for success. And obviously it's great for the goaltenders too. When they're not seeing they'll probably tell you different. They think they want to have more shots and see more rubber, but I just think that you need to limit those chances.
Okay, on to Saturday. You expected a tighter game in the pregame on Saturday. You kind of mentioned that. And it was a 5-2 win Saturday. You get out to a 2-0 lead. Minot fights back and ties it up 2-2 in the second there. But a big push in the third and solid goaltending again by Wasik. They came out to play. They were kind of ready on Saturday night, and it was, as you expected, a tighter game. What did you take away from Saturday?
Well, we had a decent start. We just had a slow second period. That we just they played well, and they were really on top of us in the second period. But our third period was really good.
Yeah.
I really liked the way our guys responded. They came out of the locker room and they played one of the best third periods we absolutely played all season. It was just, we didn't give anything up. We were on top of their team most of the period. Obviously, we had timely scoring, big power play goal. Matsui with the power play goal to put us on top there. And then, even when they got their goalie pulled and had 6 attackers, we just didn't give up anything. Our guys were good the whole weekend. Obviously the amount of goals we scored and the amount we gave up is a win in itself, and obviously something we can build on moving into the next weekend.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that too, when they pulled their goaltender, because it was like, with the extra attacker out, generally speaking, you'd think that they'd be in your zone, but you guys were able to keep them pinned down quite a bit in their own end. It ate up a lot of time. A good minute and a half, it felt like. So that was big too. You mentioned it coming out of the locker room, strong third period. That's not the first time that's happened this year, where there's been maybe a little bit of a shaky second, but the third they come out strong. What does that come from? Does it come from the locker room, from these guys talking to each other, building each other up, working on, or is it making adjustments?
It's belief. It's just those guys believe in themselves and they believe in one another, and that's kind of been the recipe from the start of the season. This group is it's an interesting group.
Yeah.
They truly care about one another. They care about winning games, and they care about winning the right way. And we didn't have to say too much there between the second and the third. The guys understood what was on the line, and they sure came out. The leadership in that locker room, and I'm not just talking about the guys that are wearing the letters. There's a lot of leadership that is headed in the right direction, which is awesome to watch from the coach's side of things.
Well, for sure. And we're going to touch on the playing for each other here in just a little moment, or just a little bit here as well. But you're playing with the lead it's been pretty common. I mean, not to say that you can't come back when you need to, but the second period being 2-2, really haven't been a whole lot of challenges for this team so far. And I wanted to talk about what it's like playing with the lead, especially when you've outscored your opponents. 12-3 in the first, 23-6 in the second, and 23-6 in the third. You're playing with the lead a lot. What does that do to the mentality of a hockey team and a player? Obviously, they're going to be a little more relaxed, but what advantages do they have when they've got that cushion, so to speak?
Well, it's a confidence thing, and when you have the lead, it allows you to make some mistakes, and I think you have to make mistakes to become better. And it allows our guys to make mistakes, and to have the solid goaltending does the same thing. You know, there's times where we're going to give up chances, but our guys are playing with a lot of confidence, and you're right, they haven't trailed a whole lot, and I thought it was great we had that adversity in the second period on Saturday. And that we found a way to, bail ourselves out of it. So, but, obviously it's huge to play with the lead. And, we talk about that all the time. And playing and making teams chase you is a whole lot better than you chasing them.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a unique feeling, actually, being 2-2 in the second period of that game. It was interesting to see it was going to be interesting to see the response one way or another coming out of that locker room, and I thought it was good for us. I thought it was great that Minot came out fired up. They were ready to go, and they had a good period against us, but even better is our response.
A little adversity and being tested from time to time certainly doesn't hurt, and like you said, a lot you can build from it too. This ties into playing with or for one another in the locker room, but I wanted to talk a little bit about playing hurt, what it says about character. There's a line, of course, in Miracle where Herb Brooks says, the leg is a long ways from the heart. You see guys that are limping off, or they need some attention on the bench or whatever. And hockey's kind of known for that, for tough guys that are gonna it takes a lot for them to come off. You see a guy take a puck to the the face or whatever, and he's back out not long after that. What does that say about the character of the player? Because I feel like part of that is that they're playing for each other.
I think for sure. I think there's every night there's something on the line, and that's 2 points, and there's nothing else that's any more important that night. That you get on the ice and you strap it up, you put the logo on, and our guys truly believe that. And I think the game of hockey, guys truly believe that, and they're willing to play hurt for the logo and for their guy that sits next to him, and it makes our sport very interesting.
Yeah.
Where a lot of sports, once a guy has some sort of minor injury, they're on the disabled list for a while, and they're going to get completely healthy before they come back and play. And in the game of hockey, it's such a hard sport on your body that you're going to be playing most of your season with some kind of bumps or bruise.
Right.
And it says a ton about the player if he's willing to play with some of those bumps and bruises. Because, obviously I've been doing this quite a long time, and I've come across the players that just have to feel 100% until they go out there. And I don't think that works in hockey.
Yeah.
I think that if you're really getting involved and you're battling, you're going to get the bumps and the bruises, the minor injuries, and there is some things you have to play through. Obviously, there's also the ones that you just can't.
Right.
And we all understand that on the coach's side. But
and the difference between hurt and injured.
Big difference. Yep, big difference. But we have a great training staff, doctor staff here, and I think that's so important at this level is those guys that can keep our guys healthy and at least get them back somewhat a percentage better than what they came off at. And that's important for us.
Without a doubt. Well, and you see the memes around, social media and stuff of a basketball player being helped off the court with leg cramps and a guy getting 5 teeth knocked out and he's back on in the next shift. So it's something to be said about the sport for sure. Well, Coach, some impressive stats. Now, obviously the amount of games played and the amount of teams that are playing has to be considered, but number 1 power play, number 1 penalty kill, top 6 scorers in the league are Aberdeen Wings. Top ranked goals forced. I mean, you've got a lot of things working really well for this hockey team right now. What do you feel like needs work?
Well, I think everything everybody else is going to continue to get better. And there's teams that just haven't played a whole lot of games that once they get more games under them themselves, they're just going to improve as a hockey team. So, so a lot of that stuff's going to close. So we have to make sure we stay ahead of that curve, and we just continue to get better every single day. And this team's got a work ethic to it, and you can push them a little bit in that area, you know, to become better every single day. And we're going to do that because we know that, you know, it's great. All those stats are great, and we're playing well. I got to give the boys credit; they're playing really well. But it's a long season, and we know where we want to be at the end. And in order to do that, we have to make sure that we get better every day.
For sure. Well, that being said, the Wings lead the Central Division, 10 games, 20 points. Minot with 10 points in 8 games. Austin with 7 points in 8 games. Bismarck, 4.7 games played. Wilderness, 3 points, 3 games played. St. Cloud has 0 points and has played 5 games. You mentioned it, Coach, long season. This year, probably even longer, because there's some pauses and some things going on. Of course, announcements being made about some teams that have decided basically to kind of have a wait-and-see approach. That's got to make preparation that much more difficult. But then again, like you said, you just got to keep working on yourself, but not really knowing what's going to come into the fall.
Yeah, it's really different this year. It's interesting. Usually we're already preparing ourselves, cutting tape, getting ahead of things, making sure our practice plan is headed in the right direction for the week, and you know, have that lead up. And now we're in, you know, wait and see mode of who we're going to play. Yeah. And that's interesting. And I think there's going to be so much of that. It's, you know, this year is all about adapting. Yeah. And for people that are used to doing things structured, exactly, drives you crazy. It actually, you know, but we just have to adapt. It's just going to be that way. It's like that, you know, it was like that in the NHL. It was like that now in college hockey, and junior hockey is not going to be any different. Well,
it's interesting that adapting isn't, like you said, something that you normally would consider. But with a season like this, it's really, I mean, kind of says something about the team and the coaching staff and the players that they're able to adapt and still be successful. So that's kind of a kudos to you guys. Coach, that's about all I've got for you, though. We'll see what happens this weekend, but one way or the other, best of luck in the upcoming games. So
thank you.
Thanks for coming on. We'll have a player join us coming up right after this as we continue with Wings Weekly.
How you move matters. Avera Orthopedics helps you move freely and live life to the fullest with innovative treatment options customized to your bone, muscle, and joint needs. Whether you suffer from aches, breaks, tears, or dislocations, turn to the orthopedic team experienced in treating every body.
As we continue on with Wings Weekly, and as promised, a player joining me, and this time it's Natan Vertes of Budapest, Hungary. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you on. You know, I got a lot of questions for you here, because you've had an interesting career with international play, and you know, the U20 Hungarian team experience, and just all kinds of cool stuff that you've been a part of. But I wanted to talk a little bit to start out with about how you got started in hockey and a little bit about your family. I mean, we touched on this last year, I remember, but maybe for somebody that's new to the team or hasn't seen it before, tell us a little bit about how you first started playing hockey and about how, you know, your family got behind you.
Hockey is not a big thing in Hungary. Like there are more referees in the U.S. than hockey players in Hungary. So wow. It's an interesting fact. I was 4 years old when I got my first pair of skates from my mom's brother, and ever since then I'm in love with this sport, and I just started to play hockey in Budapest. And when I was 9 years old, I went to the only Hungarian academy in Székesfehérvár. That's where I played hockey for 9 years.
Okay, I'm not going to try to repeat that.
Székesfehérvár. It means like White Castle.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
That's next to Budapest, like 1 hour from Budapest. That's where I played hockey. I lived in a dorm with my teammates, so it was a fun 9 years. I loved to play there. And when I was 18, I moved to Finland for a year. But that year I had a big injury, like my collarbone was broken, and I have a titanium in the bone, what bent, so I just couldn't play hockey for like almost 6 months. And after that, I got here, and I just enjoy to be here.
Yeah, well, and that's actually leading me up to something, because you had an interesting path to the Wings last year. Because when Coach Langer was over there in Europe playing with the North American team, you kind of got discovered during that tournament, right?
Not at that tournament, but during that tournament with the Hungarian Under-20 national team, we played an exhibition game, practice game against the USA Under-18 team before they went to the Hlinka Gretzky Cup.
Okay. And
at that game we lost 5-4, but I had 4 apples at that game, and I scored a shootout goal. And the USA's coach is the Western Michigan's assistant coach.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And after the game, we just started to text and email for each other, and he asked me if I want to go to play hockey in the NCAA or at the college hockey, and he just called Langer about me, and that's how I came here.
Excellent. I knew there was some connection to the tournaments over there.
Yeah, at that time, Langer was at the tournament.
Very cool. What would you say? I would imagine being a gold medalist would be probably a highlight of your hockey career, but is that, in your own words, would probably be at least till now, a highlight of all your years of playing?
Yeah, one of the highlights. Yeah, it was fun week in Ukraine. 1 year earlier, it was World Championship in Poland, and we were second. We lost at the finals.
Oh wow!
I just had this feeling, okay, I have 1 more year to win and to get a gold medal. So the next year, every 2,000 born guys went to the World Championship. Okay, we need to win this, and we won it. So that was awesome.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures and so on of you guys. That's fantastic. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Huge achievement. You had a big weekend. Obviously, a hat trick in the first 2 periods on Friday night, and then you get tossed. Like, you had to have been so upset about that.
Okay, there's a story behind this thing. So.
Well, we want to hear it.
So after my first shift or my second shift, the Minot guys started chirping me because of my hair, and I just didn't pay attention. And Coach Langer told me, "Hey, they're laughing at you." I just looked over there, and the guy did something, I don't even know his name, some kind of dummy. Did this. What is that hair? I was like, okay, I would score a goal and show them my hair. And when I scored my first goal, Coach Langer yelled, "Show them your hair!" And I just did something like this. And when I scored my hat trick, I was like, okay, I will show them my hair. So that's why I took off my helmet and I bowed. But I didn't know I can't do it. So I didn't know that it's a penalty or something.
Well, and I thought it was pretty tame, because it was like you were tipping your hat to your own players. It wasn't like you were over there taunting and stuff. But anyway, it was kind of a funny story that we wanted to pass along a little bit. And I know some of the people in the crowd were having some fun with it too. So it was an interesting game and a big game for you. And then you come out on Saturday and have 2 assists. So you've got a 5-point weekend. Things went pretty well for the Wings up there in Minot. You mentioned that, guys chirping you and stuff. Do you ever feel like you get kind of singled out, or like maybe you've got a target on your back sometimes? Maybe because of the hair, maybe because of the kind of flamboyant sellies when you score.
Yeah.
That might attract some attention.
I mean, at the Saturday's game, I felt it that mine was on me. There was a target in my back, and yeah, they wanted to fight me like 3 times. At the draws, everyone just, "Hey, drop the gloves. Vertes want to fight?" I was like, "No, dude, I'm a lover, not a fighter. I will not fight you."
I mentioned that during the game. I said, so they're going after Nathan, and I said, he is a self-proclaimed lover, not a fighter, so good luck trying to get him to drop the gloves. So that was pretty good. But a fantastic game for you guys. A tough second period on Saturday night. I mean, it got physical, and Minot played well. And I was talking with Coach Langer a little bit ago about how you guys came out of the locker room and had a really good third period. What's said in the locker room after a tight second period like that? You got guys that are kind of getting guys riled up, or are you making adjustments and saying, "Hey, let's do this differently"? How does that go?
To be honest, at the second period, they got in my head a little bit. Like, I just got frustrated a little bit that they wanted to hit me. Like, every time when I got the puck, there was 2 guys on me, tried to slash me or fight me or hit me. And after the second period, Coach Kleinknecht told me that I played a little bit scared. So just toughen up. And I just tried to play it smart, play simple. And I think at the third period, we were really good.
Yeah.
We were tough. We just...
As a team in the locker room, though, do you have, I mean, did the captains kind of get guys going, or, you know, what, or is it just kind of, I don't know, like Coach said, belief, knowing that you're good enough to do this when you go out? Because it just seemed like a different team came out in the third.
Yeah, we were tougher. And the leaders like Clay and Nico, they just talk with the rookies and the younger guys that, hey, this is a real hockey game, so...
Yep.
Just...
Excellent. Again, great weekend. Wanted to ask you, getting away from hockey a little bit, some personal kind of questions. Obviously, being from Hungary, I would imagine that there's some different foods and things like that that you don't have access to here. What would you say is your favorite food from back home that you can't have here?
You know the European pancakes?
Okay.
Crepes.
Crepes.
Yeah, so it's not a big thing in here, but on Mondays we're doing breakfast Mondays at our place, and I make crepes for the guys. Like a couple guys are coming over and we eat it with Nutella and marshmallow. It's really good.
You've got a sweet tooth. I'm going to get to more of that, but
yeah, but
crepes, huh?
I love crepes, and there's a Hungarian like soup, fish soup, halászlé.
Okay.
It's a fish soup, and it's not a thing in here. But I mean, I love the American food better. Like Sloppy Joe's is my favorite. I've never had that. I love it. And the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like,
yeah.
There's no peanut butter in Hungary. That's
not a thing there, huh?
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that. Well, I know last year they were giving you a hard time because of how you were going through Pop-Tarts left and right. Is that still one of your favorites?
Not anymore. I just ate too much. I can't eat it anymore. So I found new favorites. Uncrustables is my favorite right now.
What is?
Uncrustables.
Oh, Uncrustables, gotcha. Peanut butter jelly, there you go.
Yeah.
How about your family? You know, your brothers, sisters, mom, dad. I mean, it's got to be tough being away from home, even though, like you said, you know, ever since you were 9 years old, you've been playing and living in dorms and so on. So it gives you a little bit of an advantage, I suppose, from somebody who's, you know, leaving home for the first time. But still, you're a long ways.
Yeah, it was hard at first. Like last year, I just felt that, okay, my family and my friends are like the other side of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the time difference is hard. Like it's 7 hours later in Hungary. So it's just hard to talk with them or
Sure.
FaceTime them. I just need to find the right time to do that. But, you know, I just love to be here, and the guys are like a family for me. So I don't have any bad feelings about it. I just can't wait to see them, obviously. But I love to be here, and I'm just doing what I love, the hockey. So.
Right. Well, good. And, you know, speaking of being halfway around the world, this year became even more challenging because I know you were the first player back to town at the start of this season, and you had quite the journey to get back to the United States and to Aberdeen because of all the restrictions and stuff. How did that go? From what I understand, you had to go like by bus to different country after different country after different country to get on a plane to be able to, you know, that sounded like just craziness.
It was a crazy journey. Like, there's this rule that you need to spend 14 days outside of this Schengen zone before you can enter the U.S. And Hungary is in the Schengen zone, but Croatia, next to Hungary, is not in that zone. So I spent 14 days in Croatia in an Airbnb. Then I flew to Turkey, to Istanbul. I spent the night there at the airport. Then I went to Chicago. I spent another night there. And from Chicago, I flew to Sioux Falls. And Coach Hill picked me up there and drove me here. So that's how I came in 3 days, almost 4.
Wow. That is quite the journey, quite the trip, that's for sure. Well, you know, we talked a little bit about food and about favorites and that kind of thing. What would you say, once you got here, of course, last year, would be the biggest surprise, and let's say a pleasant surprise, you know, like maybe something that you were like, whoa, I didn't realize you could do this here or whatever. Is there something that stands out?
I love to talk about food. McDonald's tastes different.
Okay.
Everything's better here. Like, yeah, it's better taste. Like,
Probably less healthy. That's why.
on the plane, on the way here, that was my first impression, that the Coke has more caffeine in it and more sugar. It just tastes better, but I wanted to sleep on the plane, the 10 hours flight here, and I just couldn't because I drank like 6 Cokes. So
How are your teeth not rotting, Dave?
in Hungary, there's not much sugar in the chocolate and Coke.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing was Pop-Tarts. The first week I ate like 36 Pop-Tarts. That was my breakfast, lunch, dinner, everything.
So healthy.
But I mean, that what gives me energy.
Yeah.
Like before the games, my pre-game meal is ramen noodles, eggs, and Doritos chips. And I call it energy bomb.
Yeah, there you
It
go.
gives me energy, and I eat a lot of chocolate during games, between periods.
That sugar rush going.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because I've actually heard that even like in Great Britain, like, you can't have Mountain Dew. Like Mountain Dew is not a thing in Europe because of the amount of sugar and caffeine that's in it. So there's some interesting rules, that's for sure. All right, I got a couple of other questions for you. Thanksgiving is coming up. Obviously not a thing in Hungary. Do you guys have any holidays there where you gather? Well, under normal circumstances, you would gather with family and friends and you know, have a big meal like how we have a traditional Thanksgiving dinner with turkey and potatoes and everything like that.
I mean, that's Christmas for us. Like, especially in my family, everywhere I played, like in Finland or any other town, at Christmas I was always at home. So with my grandparents and my mom and my brother, we just came together and had this Christmas dinner. I don't know yet if I can go home this year because of the virus, but maybe I would join them on FaceTime.
No, there you go. Well, a lot of people are doing that, whether it's through Zoom or FaceTime, like you said. Even people that are not far away, you know, hours away, are staying home and trying to enjoy family any way that they can. So.
But yeah, last year I had this my first dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, with the Kellers. Shout out to the Kellers. That was an awesome meal. I loved it. So.
Well, I'm sure more of it's coming. So.
The gravy and mashed potatoes, I love it. And there's this what my billet mom made, this like a muffin, and there's a Reese's in it. It's awesome.
He's definitely got a sugar tooth, folks. Okay, a couple of other questions here now. These are kind of goofy, but would you rather look weak, like look like a skinny weakling, and be really strong and really tough, or would you rather, or would you rather look really strong and be weak? Like be all muscular and stuff, but actually not have any strength. Or,
I mean, I'm kind of skinny, so I would rather be skinny and be strong.
and actually be strong.
So maybe I can stay fast if I'm skinny.
That's true. Good thinking. How about this? Would you rather never be able to lie, or always have to believe everything you're told?
I mean, I don't know. That's a hard question.
That's a tough one.
I don't usually lie, so
Go with that one, huh?
yeah, that one.
Okay. Okay, how about this? Tell me about Euro singers.
Oh, yeah, shout out Euro Singers. Follow it on Instagram, Euro Singers with a Z. So, with Kate Nielsen, last year we made an Instagram account because we love to sing. Like in the car, in the locker room, on the bus ride, we just sing. Our favorite artist is Luis Capaldi, Someone You Loved, our favorite song. And we just make these videos where we are singing on the ice. And we have like 500 followers now, so follow Euro Singers with a Z.
It's going viral, folks. I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard about it. I've heard about it from more than a few people, and they're like, oh my goodness, you gotta see it. So who's the better singer, you or Cade?
I mean, I think he can rap battle. his rapping skills are better, but I have better voice.
Excellent. Euro Singers with the Z at the end. There you go, folks.
Yeah.
Check that out on the Instagram. All right. Well, Nathan, I appreciate you coming on. I think that's really about all I've got for you here this time.
Thank you.
But it's always a pleasure to talk with you and let people see the character and personality that you've got. Well, next coming games, folks, right now to be determined. We'll let you know just as soon as we can how this is going to go, but we're hoping to have a team come into the ODI Center. Currently working with teams in our division to partner with them and at least get some games scheduled for the next couple of weeks or few weeks. For all the latest news and information on the Wings, visit AberdeenWings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Again, that information will be passed along as quickly as we can. The Aspire jersey auction is still scheduled for December 19th. After the game, any updates will be announced as we get them. I've seen these jerseys. You probably have seen some images of them too. Really cool. Corporate night sponsorships are available for home games throughout the 2020-2021 season. Call Aaron at 605-380-5852 for more information. And don't forget, Wings Weekly is now a podcast. You can find the audio for the season's episodes on Spotify or on Stitcher Radio. Once again, Natan Vertes of Budapest, Hungary, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. All right, folks, that'll pretty much wrap up this week's Wings Weekly.